Hey you guys, we're talking about the basics that you need to have mastered if you're going to have sustainable progress. You know those last 10 pounds you want to lose? If you want them to stay off permanently, there are 4 basics you need to master before you start worrying about exactly how many macros you're eating, if you should be counting calories. All of that I'm here to share with you today. If you're catching the replay, hi, my name is Tanessa Shears. I'm a weight loss coach for women. I help women lose their last 10 to 15 pounds by getting in front of their brain with learning how to manage their thinking around food, because it's not just about the food you eat, but it's about being able to give your brain a direction so that you're not running in circles all the time. So what we have learned is we like to think that losing those last 10 pounds and feeling successful and keeping it off is just about finding the right diet or having the right exercise program or, counting the right amount of calories. We think it's all of these little things, searching for hours and hours for recipes and creating this elaborate meal plan. We put so much energy into all of these details. But at the end of the day, here is where my teaching philosophy is different than so many other teaching philosophies in the weight loss industry right now. It is because all of these diet plans, all of these, specific rules, like don't eat this, eat lots of this, exercise plans, all of that, that's all good and dandy until it's Friday. Your boss has been rude to you all day, it's 3 p.m., and there's a box of donuts sitting there on the counter, and you've had a crappy day, and you're stressed out, and you know that donut would make you feel a heck of a lot better. Well, in my experience, other programs and other teachers don't teach you what to do in those moments. They don't teach you the skills to prepare yourself for the moments where you have to make the tough decisions, when you have to tell yourself no, and how to deal with that, because that's really uncomfortable. So instead, if you are at that point right now where your hands are up in the air, you're like, I am so tired of quitting every 2 to 3 weeks, beating myself up, calling myself a failure, taking my self-esteem, putting it in the toilet, sitting around in lousy thoughts about what a bad person we are and we're broken and, this doesn't matter and one more won't hurt and I earned this, I'm stressed out, I deserve this. We have that thinking all of the time, but it's not serving us. So if you are at that point and you are so ready for this next time, what you're going to do going forward, you want to lose those 10 pounds, those 15 last pounds, you want to do it, and this is going to be the last time you do this. We're not going to do this again. No more up and down. So I need you to master these basics first. And I've been working with women for over 10 years, and I have lost those last 15 pounds myself. And I want to tell you that it wasn't about all the fancy foods and stuff like that. Like, yes, it's important to be eating a whole food diet and to not be eating over a 14-hour window all day. Yeah, that's all important. And yes, it's important that you're moving because it helps regulate your mood and makes you feel good. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to manage your mind and establish the basic habits so that when it is Friday at 3 p.m. and there are donuts sitting there, you're able to go, no thank you, and not because you're resisting them, but because you're okay at feeling that discomfort, because your goals are bigger than those need for those donuts, than that want for that extra glass of wine. So let's jump into our 4 basics that if you are just starting out or you feel that it is so overwhelming, these are the tricks I want you to start with and master before you worry about how many servings of vegetables are on your plate. These are tricks that you can do anywhere and anyone can do them. So the first tip, the first strategy I want you to be able to implement for yourself is the ability to commit to a plan. And we love the idea of commitment. I don't know a single woman who doesn't want to feel amazing. I don't know a single woman who wants to start on this health journey, choose a new lifestyle, new eating plan, and wants to fail. I don't know a single woman like that. We all want to commit, right? And that's where we get our motivation. But the second that motivation dries up, you're just like, well, I guess I'm broken. I guess it doesn't work. Well, that's not true. I want to teach you that one of the most important strategies that you can implement right off the bat is learning to commit to yourself no matter what in the form of a 24-hour plan. So the women that I work with inside of my tribe, inside of my 6-week programs, I teach them first, you need to get real darn good at developing a 24-hour plan. What that basically means is the night before, you write down everything you're going to eat in the next 24 hours. So because I work with high achieving women and women that, are usually successful in other areas of their life, this is what their brain goes. I don't need to do that. I know what I'm doing. I can do it up here. No, that's not going to make a difference. I already eat healthy, blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the thing. If you're overeating, if you're eating things you're not intending, if you're slipping in foods that you didn't plan for, you're going to have a heck of a time losing those last 10 pounds. Because if you started at 50 pounds to lose, what it takes to lose those last 10 to 20 is a whole different ballgame than those first 10 to 15, okay? So I need you to write out exactly what you are going to eat for the next 24 hours. I know, it's a little overwhelming at first, and the idea seems so simple, but it changes because what it makes you start doing is learning how to follow through with what you said you were going to do no matter what. I know a lot of women struggle with this. They say, yeah, tomorrow for dinner, I'm going to have a chicken breast and I'm going to have my salad and I'm going to have a healthy fat in there. Come dinner time, you had a lousy day at work and then there's that weird transition period between the end of work and dinner and you're just kind of picking at what's on the counter and then maybe you're making dinner and eating and it's just not working for you. It's not working for you. Well, you need to go into your days with a plan. A plan. And here's what's going to happen. When you get past that brain chatter, which is saying this isn't important, I don't need this, everything like that, when you get past that kind of brain chatter, you get to following your plan. Here's what your brain is going to want to do. Well, I don't really feel like eating like that right now. I don't really want to eat those food right now. I don't want to eat eggs right now. Well, here is the beautiful thing. We don't have to feel like eating what we planned because the whole purpose of the plan is that you made choices about your nutrition at a time when you were not being impulsive, when you were not making decisions on what you feel like eating, but instead what you know is going to get you to your goal. So at the beginning with my tribe, I don't emphasize completely clean eating. I mean, yes, there's a component of that that's important, but the step one that you need to get good at is committing to yourself and following through no matter what. No matter how much you don't feel like eating what you planned the next day, no matter how much that bottle of wine is calling to you, because when you get good at committing and following through, you know what's going to happen on those days when it's a really big deal? When there's a big overeat coming, or there's a stressful emotion event, or somebody ends up in the hospital, or you lose your job, any kind of stressful event, you know that you can commit to what you said you were going to do because life has nothing to do with what we put in our mouths. And it is life-changing to do these 24-hour plans. It teaches you about commitment. It has you make your food decisions ahead of time when you're focused on your goal and not what you feel like doing in the moment, because your brain is going to try to take you off plan all day long, but all you have to come back to is, this is the right thing for me right now. I am making the choices that are moving me forward right now. You stick to your plan 24 hours in advance. That's all. I'm not asking you to plan for 3 days or a week. Start with your 24-hour plan. That is basic number one. It is more important that you stick to your plan than what is actually on your plan at the beginning. It stops overeats. It stops licks, bites, and grabs while you're making food, eating off your kids' plates. Have a plan. I cannot emphasize this enough. All right, we're going into tip number 2. This is basic number 2 that you need to master before you start getting all fancy with nutrition and exercise plans. Basic number 2, you need to stay hydrated. Your body can't burn fat if you're dehydrated. I mean, it can, but it's super slow. And if anything, your body actually starts holding water. So then you look at the scale and it goes all wonky. And all of a sudden you think that I'm broken, nothing works, and you quit. You need to stay hydrated. This counts with your coffees. This counts with your teas. This counts with your water. If you don't like water, why don't you start using a water flavor? And this is so, we need to stop thinking that perfect is the only option. Hi, Jody. How's it going? We need to stop thinking that perfect is our only option. It's either only water or no water. Well, here's the truth. If you don't like water or you're currently drinking a lot of soda and transitioning to water is something that's a challenge, why don't you start with, getting some Crystal Light, flavoring your water to get you in the habit of getting hydrated. Then maybe down the road you slowly start making changes to wean yourself off of the Crystal Light. It doesn't have to be perfect. Hi, Natalie Jean. I want you guys to focus on good, better, best. Best, water. Better, Crystal Light and water. Maybe before that, I don't know, maybe you're having a coffee, but I need you to start focusing on your water. There is no excuse not to drink your water. If you want to lose 10 to 15 pounds, you need to drink water. If you tell me I don't want to drink water, you're telling me I don't want to lose body fat. Just make it that simple. Now, if you're going to ask me how much I recommend, I would say at least 2 liters per day. 2 liters per day is the equivalent of, what's 1,000 milliliters? I think that's a total of 32 ounces if you're in the States. Yeah, I'm in Canada, so we use liters. However, that is going to be essential. You're looking at 8 to 10 cups of water per day. And now, often when I give this goal, it seems overwhelming, and you're just like, I don't know, like I can't figure out, I feel like I have to pee all the time. Well, you're gonna have to pee all the time. We just have to know that our body's adapting to extra water. But here's what I have my clients do. I have them put their water on their 24-hour plan. So you want to drink 2 glasses when you wake up. Maybe you drink a glass with each meal. Then you do half a glass in midday with your brushing your teeth at night. Set up those trigger points throughout the day. And I know I made a post yesterday inside of my She Takes Action community where we were talking about the size of your water bottle, or do you have water bottles that you enjoy drinking out of? For me personally, I found that I had a really pretty little Swell water bottle, but it was only 500 milliliters, which is I think 16 ounces. And I wasn't drinking as much because I would run out and I wouldn't find time to get to the water fountain or the sink to fill it up. So what instead is I bought a 1 liter water bottle, and this thing is a monster. And I know that if I can get through 2 of those a day, I'm good. Any more is a bonus. So water needs to be present for you to be able to debloat and to get rid of water and to clear up your skin and healthy hair. If you are not regularly drinking water, stop worrying about all the fancy details first. Start right here, okay? Start with the water. All right. Number 3, basic that you need to manage before you worry about the fancy stuff is your sleep. There's so many reasons for them, and I'm going to get into my favorite ones here, and it has a lot to do with rest and recovery and your hormones. So the favorite hormone that I love is growth hormone. This hormone is a hormone that's released in the middle of the night in a pulsatile manner, which means it releases and retreats, releases and retreats. Growth hormone is responsible for lower body fat, healthy body composition, growing and repairing muscle mass while you sleep. It's responsible for healthy and strong bones. It's responsible for anti-aging. And here's the thing, if you are missing out on those critical hours of Z's in the middle of the night and you're not getting your sleep, growth hormone production is limited. So it makes it a lot easier to store body fat. The second thing is when you're missing hours of sleep, and the recommendation is minimum 7 hours of sleep per night. That's time spent asleep, not in your bed, asleep, 7 to 9 hours. When you don't get enough sleep, a hormone in your body called cortisol goes up. And we've probably all heard of cortisol. It's a stress hormone. I want you to think of this. High cortisol means body fat stored around my midsection. That's just the skinny of it. Like, if the cortisol levels are wonky in your bodies because you're not sleeping properly, stress gets high, cortisol gets high, you are more likely to store around your midsection, and that's not what we want. It essentially blocks fat burning. And the other thing is, and we can go into this in another video, but cortisol messes with the hormone that regulates fat storage. That one's called insulin. I'm sure you could scroll back through the videos and find a whole bunch of videos on insulin. I talk about it all the time because it is critical for fat storage. However, if you're not sleeping, cortisol goes up, it screws with insulin, and you're just storing fat. It's very hard to burn fat when insulin is out of whack. So cortisol, sleep, we need to sleep. And the other reason also is because when we are tired, we tend to confuse tired with hungry. I don't know about you, I want you to think of that like weird little window between the end of work and dinner time. How often are you snacking? The first thing you do is you come home and start grabbing some crackers or some cookies or something salty and crunchy and chippy. You know what I'm talking about, right? Our bodies are often wiped out because we're not having enough sleep. So not only are our hormones out of whack, we're not getting that nice growth hormone pump, so we're feeling a little haggard. We get home, we're tired, and we eat because it's comforting. We eat during that tired transition phase. And all of these little eats are overeats. They're food your body doesn't need. And as long as you are overeating, you are going to be struggling with overweight. So I want you to hear that. As long as you are overeating, you're going to be struggling with overweight. So sleep, 7 to 9 hours, super important. If you're currently getting 5, aim for 5.5. Move your bedtime 15 minutes earlier one night for the next 3 nights. Or get up. Maybe your get up time is fixed, but work on going to bed a bit earlier. Work on getting naps in the middle of the day. So having said all of that about eating when you're not hungry, my last and final basic that you need to master before you worry about getting all fancy with meal plans or keto or intermittent fasting, none of that matters if you are overeating. And I'm going to say that right now. What is overeating? Overeating is not what we typically define it as. So we like to talk about overeating as, oh, I meant to have 10 cookies, but I ate the box. Yeah, that's definitely overeating. Or I went out for a glass of wine and I ended up having 4. That is absolutely overeating, overdrinking. But so we like to focus on those. Be like, I'm going to swear off all junk food because I can't control myself around it. We like to do that. But I'm going to tell you something else. Overeating comes in other forms and we don't recognize it. Here is one of the forms of overeating. And overeating is simply eating food when our body doesn't need it. Okay, overeat number 1 that we're likely missing. Clearing off the food of your kids' plates at the end of the night. You know, picking maybe some broccoli, no matter what it is, a little bit of the chicken. When you're eating off your kids' plates and you're done your own dinner, that's overeating. When you are making dinner and you slice off a piece of extra cheese and pop it into your mouth, I do this sometimes, that is overeating. There's no purpose to be eating right then. Or how about when you plan to have a half a cup of mixed nuts for your snack, and then, you just go for a cup. So it's little overeats like that are adding up. And here is how you tell if you are overeating. Are you ready? It's super simple. Are you eating when you're not hungry? That is overeating. Your body is brilliant at telling us when we are hungry. Your stomach will growl. You will feel the sensations of discomfort and hunger. That means your body needs fuel. So you know those moments when you're driving home from work and all you can do is think about the snacks are at home and I'm going to go in the pantry, I'm going to start with a bowl of cereal, and then I'm probably going to move to some cheesies, and then that is overeating. You have wound yourself up into the state of thinking that you need this food, but you are not hungry. Think about the last meal you had. Were you hungry when you ate it? So we have so been conditioned that we eat at 9 a.m. and then noon, and then we eat it again at 3, and then we eat it again at 6, and then we probably have dessert after that. We get so wrapped up and conditioned with these eating times and schedules that we have completely disregarded if we're actually hungry. And here's the fun thing, and I love telling my clients this. If you have 10 to 15 pounds to lose, all of that weight that you're carrying is body fat. Do you know what body fat is? Stored energy. Do you know where stored energy comes from? Overeating. Too much food. So, if you are not hungry, I want you to think of the body as dining in on the fat that you are carrying around. We need that to happen for you to lose your last 10 to 15 pounds. If you are never letting yourself feel hunger, you are never having to dine in. Dining in is how your body loses body fat. You need to be able to consume the fat stored to burn it off. It doesn't burn off magically or by heats or by gels or, vibrating chairs and all these fancy things. It comes by using the fuel. And the only way that happens is if you let your body get hungry. And I'm not talking about starving, miserable, low blood sugar, because I get clients that say that. They say, my blood sugar is going to drop, and then I'm going to faint, and then at work, they're going to think this, and I'm not going to be able to perform. I hear everything, but I can promise you nothing is going to happen to you if you wait until you feel the sensation of hunger to start eating. It's fascinating. And you might realize very quickly once you put that in place how much you have been overeating this whole time. Overeating leads to overweight. And yes, that's a very simplified way of saying that. Yes, there are way more factors and hormones and stuff like that. But doesn't it make more sense to start there than to spend 6 hours on Pinterest finding recipes and workouts and trying to do everything at once perfectly, overloading yourself, feeling like you're going to hit face first into the floor? Yeah, that's what's happening. That is what is happening to all of us, is we get this massive idea of what we think it's going to take to lose 5 to 10 pounds this month. We get overwhelmed, and then we crash and we burn, and we say, well, that diet didn't work. No, it wasn't the diet. The diet worked just fine. It was the fact that you didn't have the basics down before you took on that kind of detail, before you took on that amount of things. So the 4 basics that we went over today that I need you to master before you worry about getting fancy. Number 1, I need you to practice commitment to yourself in the form of creating a 24-hour plan. I need you to start staying hydrated. I'm talking minimum 2 liters a day. I'm talking about having water bottles available for you to drink, and it's on your plan so you do not forget. I am talking about getting enough sleep. Number 3, you need to be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night so that your hormones set you up for fat loss. I mean, what if you did have a 24-hour plan and you only ate when you were hungry and you had lots of water, but you weren't sleeping? Well, you know what? I've seen that type of client. Those clients don't lose weight. We have to fix your sleep. It's important. We cannot take these for granted. You can eat all the healthy food in the world. You can have the perfect diet. You can have the perfect exercise. But if you're not sleeping right, you might see a zero-sum game on the scale. And that's going to feel like the food's not working, but it might just be your sleep. And the last thing we talked about is only waiting for your body to tell you it needs food before we put more food in our mouth. Overweight means overeating. We need to start seeing when our body actually needs fuel. These 4 basics are essential to being mastered before you start worrying about the details. And this is what I teach my tribe inside of my 6-week program. We did just open up the waitlist for the November 5th cycle. So if you want to get on the waitlist for that, it's TanessaShears.com/tribe. This is where we dive deep on this kind of stuff. And we move beyond just all these surface issues of like exercise and diet. Yes, that's part of it, but you gotta get in front of your brain. You have to get the basics managed. And that comes down to your thinking, and that's a lot of what we teach inside this program. So again, we just opened up that waitlist at TanessaShears.com/join for the November 5th start date. All right, and so I really hope, I want to hear you in the comments below. Let me know which of these basics you are doing today. Today, take action. Don't be one of those girls who watches videos and consumes information. I used to be that. Do you know how overwhelming it is to consume information more and more and more and never take action? You just feel overwhelmed. You feel frustrated. You feel like a failure, and it's a disgusting feeling. So comment below what one of those 4 steps, 24-hour plan, water, sleep, not eating until you're hungry, what one are you starting today, no matter what, because that is it. You have had it. You are not losing this 10 pounds one more time. This is it. Last time. That's my challenge for you today. And if this content pumped you up, I'm doing a back to basics challenge in the end of October, probably 2nd to 3rd week. And it is going to be a 5-day challenge where me and you hop on just like this on our Facebook page, and I go into detail about all of these basics that are really what we need to establish. So if you are totally pumped about that challenge and you want me to include you and let you know when the challenge opens for enrollment, it's a free challenge in the Facebook, we do it all the time, just comment I'm in the comments so that way I can save your name and remember to reach out to you when the challenge comes out for enrollment. You guys, my name is Tanessa Shears. I'm a weight loss coach for women. I've lost my last 15 pounds, and my goal is to help every woman have the skills she needs to lose her last 10 to 15 pounds sustainably and for the last dang time. No more. This is the last time this weight is coming off. I can promise that. You guys have a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday, and I will see you next time.